Welcome back to On Pit Row. Steve Rockwitz and Charlie Turner with you live from the original Gino's Pizza and Grill. Lots of race talk yet to go. Make sure you come on out here to the original Gino's. Pick up one of the super specials that they have out here, one of which obviously the original crust, one-item large pizza for just $5. All types of drink specials and other food specials as well. We continue our conversation with Lee Spencer, the senior writer for FoxSports.com. You know, you talked about the fact that Sam Hornish was somebody that may deserve a chance in the number 2 ride. I don't want to say the number 2 car, but the number 2 ride at Penske. Obviously not going to happen with the announcement that Joey Logano is going to get that ride. Keselowski said earlier that he wanted to have a voice in who was going to be his number 1 teammate. How much of that do you think led to Logano being hired as the driver of the 22 for next year?
I think it has a lot to do with it. The question is Joey somebody that he thinks that he can glean information off of, or is Joey somebody who's not going to be a threat to Brad Keselowski?
Right.
I talked to Roger Penske Sunday morning, and he was very. He's very excited about Joey Logano coming on board. He thinks they're looking at those two and the future that they have because of the youth that he's brought to that program. It's going to put them in a really good position for a long time. And he was looking at Joe Gibbs and Denny being the oldest guy there. Well, now they've been skewed differently because they've got 41-year-old Matt Kenseth coming over there. But when you think of it before, you think of young guns and how you set up your organization for the future, and you just have to, think that Penske's put themselves in a very strong position. Joey Logano's still going to go out and ride cars, but he's getting stronger, each year, and he was rushed into, the deal with Gibbs, and it was a struggle over there. It kept the fab shop busy, but he's learned a lot, and he's just going to get stronger as the years go on.
We're talking with Lee Spencer from FoxSports.com. The other thing that you hit on Matt Kenseth there for a second, but I wanted to talk about what will be his old ride, that 17 coming up next year, and the news out there that 3 sponsors have already joined the Ricky Stenhouse regime on the 17, and yet at this same time last year there was nobody that had signed on to that 17. Is this an indictment for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. taking over that ride, or is it just the fact that these guys were there, these 3 sponsors were already there, and they think this is the best option?
It's hard to say. Those, the sponsors were already there. They're not bringing in anybody new. They've hired a new sales manager. It'll be interesting to see, what he's able to pull off over, the next 6 months or so, because there's still a lot of inventory left to sell over there. And, money makes these cars go around, and he's, everybody at this point, given, what's going on with the economy, it's a tough sell. You look at Tony Stewart and Office Depot going away. I mean, I reported last week that we're hearing that Pro Shop's going to leave Ganassi and go over there, but, when you look at the performance of the Ganassi team, nobody talks about Juan Pablo Montoya or Jamie McMurray this year. So, you have to think that sponsors are going to go where the performance is, and there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of blue sky ahead for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., not to mention the fact that he should be able to attract a younger demographic. Sponsors that are looking for that younger demographic would have to find him attractive. But then again, Matt Kenseth was a Sprint Cup champion, and that's an attractive proposition too. I mean, he's still winning races. He won the Daytona 500. It's a fairly sexy package, and you're not going to have to worry about Matt Kenseth going out in the public and making an ass out of himself.
One of the things that people had talked about as far as the economy goes, the sponsorship goes, is that a lot of these teams and sponsorship deals were coming back, we're lessening the dollar value, and yet Roush Fenway wasn't looking to make any concessions to sponsors, and that may have been why they lost some of them. At one point, Roush Fenway had the pick of the litter. They had all these great sponsors. They had enough sponsorship for 5 cars, maybe 6 cars at one time. Now they can barely put sponsorship on 3. Where does that blame lie? Is it just a matter of the fact that the economy has been in the toilet, or is it the fact that they haven't had the ability to go out and finalize deals that they needed to finalize?
I think, the economy is across the board giving everybody this. We asked them on they're still the void that's going to be left. Due leaves at the end of the year. Jeff Gordon in a different path. RP has picked up their option, but there's a question as to what the DuPont rate is. When you look at Roush, though, I think that the one factor that has really haunted them over the years is the fact that their sponsorship, their maintenance on their sponsorships just isn't as strong as it needs to be. It's kind of like your first wife. You marry her, you guys have a great relationship, but once the mistress comes along, you sure as heck pay her a lot more attention than you did the wife. If you had paid the attention to the first wife that you did your mistress, your marriage would probably be a lot more happy. Roush Bentley Racing is in the same situation. They get these hot young sponsorship programs coming in. They're great, as far as getting them into the door. And once they get them there, it's kind of like chopped liver. And, big picture, you have to take care of the people that take care of you.
Talking with Lee Spencer. And before I let you go, Lee, I wanted to ask you about A.J. Allmendinger. Looks like he is on the road to recovery, so to speak. Kind of a bad pun, but has pretty well gotten through at least phase one of his NASCAR road to recovery. And Penske said that he wouldn't be opposed to hiring him again in some capacity. What does the future hold for Allmendinger at this point, do you think?
I think that's a really good question. I think they're going to hear this week whether or not NASCAR thinks that they've satisfied all the requirements. As far as the coursework or the what they laid out for him initially, as far as meeting with counselors, checking in, staying clean, getting tested whenever. He's done all of that. Now it's up to NASCAR to decide whether or not they'll reinstate him. You finish it, and then you're on NASCAR's timetable. It's up to NASCAR. You can't apply for reinstatement. NASCAR decides whether or not you're ready to take that plunge. And so, basically, it's a matter of them just waiting on NASCAR to say, we're satisfied that you've figured out, you've finished all the requirements. You're on the road back. We don't have to worry about you, using poor judgment in the future, and, move on from there. I don't think he's going to get a job in a Sprint Cup car anytime soon. Roger did mention the fact that Ryan Briscoe, that his seat has not been filled yet for next year. So, there's the possibility of that, and I think it's just a matter of AJ deciding what he wants to do and then commit himself to coming back. It's one thing to say that you're ready to come back. It's another to prove it. And he's going to have to prove to a lot of people that, he wants this as bad as he says he does, and then move on.
All right. My last question for you. One race into the chase. Have we eliminated any of the top 12 guys for this thing yet? Is anybody out of it after one race?
I would say it'd be very difficult for Jeff Gordon to come back at this point. It's not impossible, but the 11 guys ahead of him would have to have as much, have as big of a failure as he had in the first race. And beyond that, I think he just, he works as a pick for the other three Hendrick teams from here on out.
So does this mean the end of the stash after one bad race?
I think it's bad luck. I'd shave. It would have been gone Monday morning if I was him. Thank God I don't have to worry about having a mustache.
Thank God as well. Lee Spencer, as always, thanks so much for spending time with us. We truly appreciate it. We'll talk to you again.
Take care.
All right, bye. Lee Spencer, we appreciate all that she brings to On Pit Row. We'll be back right after this. This is On Pit Row.
You're listening to On Pit Row, your weekly source for the best information and discussion about NASCAR. Cross flags have been displayed